Here it is.
This is important stuff. And
Alex Jones was immediately, of course, brought onto mainstream.
I talked about it in the Cold Open Today show. All right.
By everyone's favorite demon, Steven Crowder. It's just like, it's all team sport, man. There is no amount of cruelty that some of these people will do. Like, here's the thing, okay? I always talk about the left not engaging in a circular firing squad all the goddamn time, right? Because you do need to, at the very least, like, build a consistent community, okay, that can make meaningful change, and we refuse to do that. But God damn it, I mean, this is the alternative, and this shit's awful. Like, show solidarity and kindness and empathy to your fellow man, right? Don't alienate those who you can educate. These are things I believe in. These are things I've believed in for many, many years. These are things I talk about. But this is incredible. I mean, this is a level of insanity that is unimaginable. How do you know they're too far gone to educate? I mean, dude, there are usually, if people have some kind of financial interest in spreading their message, they're a little bit harder to rehabilitate or educate. It takes a lot for someone who is, gaining financial compensation by spreading right-wing psychotic bullshit. It takes a lot for them to turn around, This is why I really respect people who reform when they don't need to. People who see the light, and people who change their behavior. Ethan is a good example of this. The audience is very baby brain conception of free speech, so any consequence for incitement, defamation doesn't compute for them. Can you give an example of people who have changed or reformed? iDubbbz, Ethan Klein, myself. XQC, we talked about. Human beings are imperfect. There are plenty of people in this community that had different opinions. Okay? When they were growing up. There are plenty of you that have reformed your perspective. Okay? On issues that you had a very different perspective on. That's what this community is built on. The capacity to understand and lead by empathy. See, there are plenty of people in this community that are saying that. Those who never change their minds never change anything. I used to unironically watch these guys, and sometimes Jordan B. Peterson, etc. And thanks to folks like you and Ethan, I've changed quite a bit. Sorry, not shouting caps was on. Bro, I was literally transphobic, and now I'm trans. Yeah. What do I always say? Leftists understand that we are products of our social development, our social upbringing, right? We are products of the system. And the system itself is bigoted. The system itself is white supremacist, is built on white supremacist foundations. All of our institutions reflect that bigotry. Okay? It's a permanent part of our everyday existence. So of course people are going to have starting points that are different. Of course people are going to have starting points that might be bigoted. If anything, my own personal experiences, learning from my mistakes in the past, are what guides me and what has guided me for many, many years to be able to change people's minds. If I didn't believe that people have the capacity to change, and this ties back to the criminal justice conversation that we were talking about. If I didn't believe that people had the capacity to change, then my job would be nothing. I should just check it at the door. The blind spots thing is one of my favorite things you've ever said. Yeah. There is always going to be a privileged blind spot. How do you understand its capacity to change when your takes have stayed the exact same? I mean, I've talked about this before. Misogyny and transphobia were certainly things that I was incredibly careless about a decade ago. You've probably seen people trying to use that against me all the fucking time. There are communities that are built on that. You know? And they do it. Don't fucking toss Pepelas in here. I mean, it's just, it's so gross that people do that shit still. And I've addressed it so many fucking times. And the reality is that those instances are what made me who I am today. That is why. That is precisely why I can communicate this change, the capacity to change for others. Because I myself have. One of these people are XUC, by the way. Yeah, no, that's what I've said. However, Alex Jones is not one of those people. And if you're in here, with the underlying intentions of like derailing the stream or anything like that, I'm here to tell you, you can change too. But you have to feel it internally first. And your life will be a lot better. Anyway. So, let's watch what Alex Jones had to say on Steven Crowder.
When you're ready, just roll. I guess you're rolling it from his end.
No, we'll roll it from our end then. Go ahead and roll it, guys.
All right.
But we will be at it as long as it takes. And if you're out there right now and you're one of Alex Jones's audience members and you're giving him money, I just want you to know that based on the jury's verdict today, it's not a very good bet. And to go back to what Robbie Parker said, all Alex Jones does is take from you, exploit you, lie to you, feed your fears and your anxieties and your mistrust. And the only person that benefits in that equation is him. Well, that stops. That's stopping today, thanks to the courage of these families. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. All right, so what he just said there is, we don't want money from Alex Jones. And I want to explain to listeners. We're going to appeal this.
Then they ask for money.
Get overturned.
Then they ask for money. We don't want the $900 million from Alex Jones, damn it. You can make that payable to cash.
Absolutely. So.
I mean, how many times has Steven Crowder talked about defamation, dude? Every single one of these motherfuckers has a tweet. Every single one of these motherfuckers have talked about suing other people on the basis of defamation. Okay? So kind of wild for them to turn around and be like, oh man, like, I mean, they were celebrating Kyle Rittenhouse suing people for defamation like last week. And now they're like, but wow, oh, when one of our guys gets sued for defamation, well, holy moly, that's not acceptable. Don't like that. Can't have that. Shit. But we already know.
If I can, I'm chomping at the bit because there's so many angles to this, Stephen. Number one, I don't have $3 million cash in my company and my personal stuff. I have enough to operate and pay the bills and legal. I got a nice house, got decent cars, but I don't worship things. So that them trying to take money away from me means nothing, and it'll actually make me work harder to expose them. I'd work for free exposing them, so they're never going to silence me without killing me or putting me in prison.
Right.
And so that which doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. But they specifically say over and over again, they want me taken off the air. They want me bankrupt. Okay, so we're in Chapter 5, Chapter 11, Subchapter 5 bankruptcy. That isn't liquidation. It's where we do a plan to the federal government. We say, okay, you can have the future.
Motherfucker said, go ahead, liquidate my assets. That'll only make me grind harder, dude. That's kind of funny, not gonna lie. It's literally raise my rent. Take my house. It's only gonna make me grind harder. He's like, I'm gonna say more false flag conspiracies that are unhinged. Just you wait.
Future profits towards all these lawsuits in the future in a 5-year plan. And there's not much profit around here, so my crew stays hired, we stay on air, it becomes a zombie organization is what they call it, because now any profit, but they're not allowed to fire people or do all that stuff. The operation continues on, the listeners support it, and then whatever extras there, they get paid. That's in 2 years at least, even if this is
It's kind of wild that he's like openly showcasing his disdain, by the way, where he's like, I'm going to hold up this process as best as possible. Like, normally, that's something that you shouldn't be out and about. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be openly stating that, right? But Alex Jones is not a normal person. So, of course, Alex Jones instead is quite literally openly stating his goal in subverting the legal process as best as possible. He's just admitting to it. And it's like a, what are you going to fucking do about it situation? You know what I mean? Well, also, normal humans don't literally fucking call the judge overseeing your defamation awards trial a pedophile and double down on the defamation during that fucking trial. But, you know, we're in a totally separate place now. Now, of course, the reason why I'm talking about this is because, well, one, it's pack watch time and it's kind of funny. But two, the reason why I'm talking about this is because Steven Crowder has no fucking loyalty to any truth, okay? He has no semblance of a moral compass or anything. This is just his team. And if you're on Steven Crowder's team, if you agree with Steven Crowder, then Steven Crowder will defend you. If you're on his side, if you're ideologically aligned with him, he's going to fucking defend you. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can quite literally create mass harassment campaigns against victims of school shootings and the families of the victims of school shootings. And when you get your comeuppance in the American criminal justice system or in the American court system, which is very, very hard when it comes to defamation, given the First Amendment, okay? He'll still turn around and be like, no, this was unacceptable. They attacked you because you told the truth. So if you're going to go around and look for hypocrisy here, I'll tell you, like, of course it's hypocritical. There is no moral backbone here, okay? There is no moral backbone. They only care about winning.
Isn't overturned on appeal. So they announced it's the end of Alex Jones. It's all over. It's all more hype, more fraud, more disinformation. So that's what they just did here. And I have more clips of them specifically saying,
can I ask you a
we
question,
want
Alex?
to take him out.
And I'm not trying to cut you off, but some of these questions are just because it's hard for me to find the truth, the answers on it. I know we talked about the cap. We talked about the cap in Texas, right? On I believe it's is it punitive damages?
Yes.
Is there a cap in Connecticut, or are you, unless it is overturned on appeal, are you on the hook for the hundreds of millions of dollars?
The short answer is they lie and say I owe $50 million in Texas. It's about 5.6. There are caps. It's in the state.
Damn, man, you really fucking owned everybody with that one. Listen, folks, I don't even have $3 million in my name, but I only own $5 million in Texas. It's not $50 million. Okay, that's fun. His short answer is that I'm owned, like unimaginably owned, but not as incredibly unimaginably owned as you thought. But let's hear what he had to say about Connecticut. I have to pee, by the way. I'll be back.
They can't overturn it.
Right.
It's different in Connecticut. The unfair trade practices, or CUTMA, however they call it, that is unlimited, and that is up for the judge to decide. So she's going to come back next week and probably hit me with $1 billion more. So all the other ones do have caps, but because there's 15 plaintiffs, they're all capped at, I forget the number, like $4 million. So $10 million is more money than I can get them.
Of course.
$50 million is more. $1 billion, it's all a joke at this point. It's like saying, we're going to cut you into 20 million pieces. Well, if you cut me in 5 pieces, I'm going to die.
Right.
So they're like, we're gonna drop 25 nuclear bombs on Alex Jones's house. And I'm like, I think 1 nuclear bomb would probably kill me.
Probably.
So we're gonna shoot 20 million bullets into you instead of 5 bullets. So this is all overkill. It's just the left having a temper tantrum. They want to scare everybody else and get a bunch of other lawyers to file lawsuits to come after all the conservatives and all the nationalists and all the patriots. And I really appreciate you letting me get that out there, because it's so frustrating to be kind of only have my show that has a big audience, but it's compartmentalized because of censorship. It's very hard to actually get the truth out there.
No, it's not just censorship,
so people
Alex.
understand.
It's not just censorship. It's cowardice. You and I have had conversations, obviously off air, where I wouldn't say called you to that, but I've said I don't agree with this. I don't like that. Remember, I told you. I remember early on the show saying I don't like that you sometimes stir up infighting with conservatives. I remember you saying, you know what, I used to do that more, and I've decided the left is a more important enemy. We've had very strong disagreements. I felt compelled to have you on because some of the biggest figures in our movement, who, by the way, agreed with all of some of your quote unquote conspiracy theories that I thought were incorrect, they didn't have you on. It is censorship. And it's cowardice from people on the right. And by the way, I've experienced that too. I've experienced that for jokes that then people on the right will take out of context. So my issue is not so much with the left being the left, right? It's like being mad that a crocodile bites you. I'm mad with people on the right who aren't doing it. Let me ask you, Alex, really, point blank. I know you talk about appeals. How scared are you right now?
I am way more scared about the direction the country's going in if they admit this is a formula for everybody. I mean, while the right wing laughs, some of them, and says, oh, it's just Alex Jones, they're on every channel saying we're coming after everybody now with this model. And they've even got the Republican Secretary of State in Texas saying we want to come after Republicans that question election fraud. Give me a break. So you have the rhinos, the neocons, the rabid left allied together against the populist uprising of nationalist Americans who are peacefully trying to take our country back. So I'm way more concerned about nuclear war. I'm way more concerned about financial collapse. I mean, here's a good point, Stephen. Quite frankly, the way inflation's going and the way it accelerates towards Weimar Republic or Zimbabwe, in 10 years, there's such inflation, $1 billion will be like $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, at the current rate we're at here, so
be like pesos.
No, I'm not scared. I am disgusted, and I really feel proud of myself because I've told the truth about this. I've said when I was wrong. They have created this whole synthetic identity for me, the straw man, and then they sat there and had to lie to a jury and suppress the truth and tell them I was guilty and rig this kangaroo court so I myself can hold my head tall. But I am in general very concerned for my children, for the country in the future, because of the rapid acceleration into total and complete corruption.
Watch Louder with Crowder live.
He said he's proud of himself, dude. I mean, of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? He's out of his fucking mind. Holy shit. Isn't there just more evidence for a new defamation suit from the exact people suing him now? I mean, look, he's trying but failing to do a good job, once again, shocking, in defending himself. If he had stopped defaming the fucking parents over the course of the many years where he just said that they were, without any evidence whatsoever, crisis actors, that they were lying, that they had an underlying reason for lying like this, and that reason was because they were working with the federal government or whatever the fuck. Like, if he had done that, at any given point, he wouldn't have this situation. It is quite difficult, as we've talked time and time again with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, to sue someone successfully for defamation. Like, you really got to be Alex Jones at that point. Especially if you are suing someone that's wealthier and more powerful than you. Alex Jones is significantly more wealthy and more powerful than like random parents of mass shootings. Random parents of children that were ruthlessly slaughtered in mass shootings. Alex Jones also hasn't stopped. In a country where there are so many mass shootings happening all the time, it's not like he's stopped. He's still casting a lot of doubt on things like Uvalde. Like, he hasn't stopped at all. And it's like, why would he? There's no punishments for it until now.
In general, very concerned for my children, for the country in the future, because of the rapid acceleration into total and complete corruption.
How scared are you right now?
I am way more scared about the direction the country's going in if they admit this is a formula for everybody. I mean, while the right wing laughs, some of them, and says, oh, it's just Alex Jones, they're on every channel saying we're coming after everybody now with this model. And they've even got the Republican Secretary of State in Texas saying we want to come after Republicans that question election fraud. Give me a break. So you have the rhinos, the neocons, the rabid left allied together against the populist uprising of nationalist Americans who are peacefully trying to take our country back. So I'm way more concerned about nuclear war. I'm way more concerned.
He said, I mean, we already watched this, but like, I love the notion that his fan base is peaceful when like they literally shot at the houses of some of the fucking parents, dude. Like, these guys are anything but peaceful. Their ideas are not peaceful, and their execution is certainly not peaceful. Yeah, peaceful, brother. Remember fucking January 6th, which Alex Jones himself played a role in? Remember that? So fucking peaceful, dog.
Concerned about financial collapse. I mean, here's a good point, Stephen. Quite frankly, the way inflation's going and the way it accelerates towards Weimar Republic or Zimbabwe, in 10 years, there's such inflation, $1 billion will be like $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, at the current rate we're at here,
Be like pesos.
No, I'm not scared. I am disgusted, and I really feel proud of myself because I've told the truth about this. I've said when I was wrong. They have created this whole synthetic identity for me, this straw man, and then they sat there and had to lie to a jury and suppress the truth and tell them I was guilty and rig this kangaroo court so I myself can hold my head tall. But I am in general very concerned for my children, for the country in the future, because of the rapid acceleration into total and complete corruption.
I know you have some other things you want to hit. I don't even know if we can probably show the clips on YouTube, but Gerald here, I know has a question for you. You can't see him, but he's champing at the bit. Gerald, yeah, please.
Yeah, so you said earlier that this is going to be overturned. Why do you think that it will be overturned? Not that you just have kind of this faith in that that's going to happen, but what are you guys arguing, if you can reveal that to us, on how it's going to be overturned?
Well, that's an excellent question. I have talked to dozens of very well-known constitutional lawyers. I can tell you Norm Pattis is a very well-known, successful lawyer around the country. He's talked to current and former judges in Connecticut and in New York, federal and state, that say this is the most insane craziness they've ever seen. The judge said in open court, I said this months ago because she'd done rules in limine and told us what I couldn't say. She said in court, can't say you're innocent. Can't say you barely ever talked about these people. Can't say you didn't make money off of it. Can't be political, but they could hold up magazines I put out exposing Obama, but then we couldn't respond back to it.
I think that was in the awards trial. At that point, is already, he's like, they caught me in 4K, and I couldn't lie. That's so fucked up. Yeah, it's called perjury, man. Which he did, by the way. He perjured himself. He can't say he's innocent in any trial because he never answered discovery to make a case for innocence. I mean, conservatives absolutely fucking love crying to the referee. I'm the referee, dude. Conservatives love crying to the referee. It is so obvious that this is never about like a well thought out, well constructed argument against hypocrisy, but instead about the system not giving them exactly what they want. Okay? That's it. He's doing that right now. He's like, this is not about like a moral opposition to what these people have done with respect to like free speech rules or anything like that. It's just simply, I couldn't get protected by the system, and now I'm fucking mad. There's like people crying about the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of every hour. Here's the 1 minute ad break now.
To it. She literally tied our hands and did this. So either America's gone and completely done, or in Texas and in Connecticut, if I have the money for the appeals, that's why they want to bankrupt us right now, because they are so scared that if there's any justice left at the Texas or the Connecticut Supreme Court or the U.S. Supreme Court, they've got to overturn this because the deep state, the ambulance chaser brigade are openly saying they're coming after everyone with this, just like when I got censored.
So are you saying that you think the people in the appeals court will see the gravity of it? Is that what you're saying, why you believe it'll be overturned?
I don't know if the fix is in that high, but I know that they've got their pound of flesh, they've demonized me, they brought back up Sandy Hook, they've made a bunch of money for their charities, they got $73 million from Remington. I mean, these dead kids are cash machines for these lawyers, okay? And now nobody knows who Adam Lanza is that killed the kids, they only know Alex Jones. And so, I'm sorry, what was the question, Stephen? I apologize.
No, I think you answered the question. Well, I think Gerald really wants to know, why do you believe it will be overturned? Do you think it's because they wanted to make an example of you, and then when it comes down to the actual constitutional law, it won't hold water? Is that why?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, well, they have to, or the country's over. I mean, you have to understand, when I say kangaroo court, when I say show trial, I mean, this has never before been done. A default's when you just don't even show up. We gave them everything, exhaustive, and then they let them use the discovery that they said we didn't give them to the jury. They could put.
I mean, him saying those kids are a cash machine is a self-report, right? It was a literal cash machine for him. Him unironically talking about the victims and their families and the way that he did literally made him money. He can now say he lied about it. But at the time, that's what he did.
put on evidence. We couldn't challenge the evidence, and I couldn't testify. That's why I didn't testify when it was time for our quote case. It was only a hearing and damages. The judge found me guilty. Again, since when? Well, the judge knows best. They've never done that before. They can't do that. You know, if I was caught bank robbing or something and I ran off to another country, then you can have default judgments to say, take my house. Because I'm not there. There's video of me robbing the bank. I've left the country. They can sue. They can get the house. That's a default judgment. I was there. I participated. I did the depositions. I had my crew members go there. I spent millions of dollars on lawyers. But because there was no case there, they were forced to default because they decided I was this supervillain and they wanted to set this precedent. So yes, all the lawyers agree that if we file a good appeal with the hundreds of bad things they did, that it must absolutely be either partially or totally overturned. And if it isn't overturned, no, I'm not scared, Stephen, because I've said on air the truth. I have less than $1.5 million in my bank account. Sounds like a lot to the average working guy, and I get it. But with all my bills and crew and all this, that's on empty. My company has less than $1 million in it right now, and that's to buy product and pay payroll and fund our operation. So I never did this to make money. They had all these fake numbers. They had all our finances. They said he made 60.
Bro, that's crazy. Doesn't he have like a rollie on his fucking arm right now?
$61 million last year. Our gross was $61 million. I paid myself $200,000 last year. It's all in the bankruptcy court. They know it. They know it's true. Was there a year that I paid myself $12 million? Absolutely. The year of the divorce with my ex-wife 6 years ago, thank God it was the Trump era. For the first time ever, we had all this extra money right when she divorces me. It goes through the process, and the court made me pay her close to $10 million to, quote, buy her out of the company because I've been married to her for 13 years. So the 1 year God came through, the 1 year that because usually I make about $1 million, $2 million a year, but honest with my audience. And after all the bills and stuff and legal crap, it's gone. Of course. Okay, but I don't do it for money. The 1 year I made $12 million, God came through, magically the money came in to then buy my ex-wife out of the company. So again, they think, so it doesn't
Alex,
matter.
can I point something out?
He's a divorce court warrior. Your Honor, I'm a victim of divorce court.
$1 trillion judgment.
I want to say something here that's important because I see you, and we all struggle with this, right? Where you're saying, because I know that people think that sounds like a lot of money, and it's sad that you even have to say, no, you don't do this just for the money, but you absolutely deserve to earn a living if you have millions.
Oh, that's crazy, man. Where was this kind of understanding when it comes to, like, I don't know, leftist commentators? These motherfuckers love talking about how much money I make when what I make is literally fucking pennies on the dollar in comparison to both of you fucking demons. And that is before we look at what you are saying and what the fucking impact of your statements are.
Millions of people who are listening and the amount of work that you put into it. I understand it. This
motherfucker said, I don't do it for the money. I did pay myself $12 million 1 year. You're all fucking rich. I mean, true, but there's rich, like the motherfuckers you're seeing on screen, and then there's rich. I need to sell supplements, boys. That's what I need to do. And mugs. I wish I went to work not for money and made $1 million. Yeah. I'm going to sell mugs full of supplements. You'd make a killing as a right-wing grifter one day, dude. I'm just going to fucking cave. I'm just going to say, fuck this world. I hate everything. Go on my right-wing shit. It's going to happen.
What I do here as well. Conservatives are the only ones, surprisingly, the people who support free enterprise, where we feel like because our audience is largely working class, you want to say, look, don't get mad at me because I make this money. Because there's a huge difference between 1 year making $12 million and a several $100 million judgment. You know who makes $12 million every single year? Colbert, Fallon. No one cares. And I just hope that people on the right.
Oh my God, he's saying the same thing. Oh my God. Which is true. People don't care. People don't care. You want to know why? Because, well, they are famous, okay? They're actually famous. And they're far removed from any sort of like negative commentary. Nobody gives a shit. If you're like, man, Stephen Colbert sure makes a lot of money, everyone will be like, yeah, shut the fuck up. He's on TV. Also, once again, those guys preaching liberalism, okay? Which is, of course, always considered to be, a much more palatable form of commentary. I don't think those guys harassed the families of, victims of school shootings. I don't think those guys recreated the George Floyd state-sanctioned execution in the hands of Derek Chauvin. I feel like that didn't happen. You did that, though. It's not about who is making the money, okay? It's about what you are saying and doing and what the impact of your actions are when you are making that money. And here's the thing, like, I don't like Stephen Colbert anymore. I think Colbert kind of sucks. Old Colbert, when he was making fun of right-wingers by behaving like, the OG version of Hank Pecker, that was great. Kind of cringe now. But that's part of the reason why people don't fucking, shit on them as much.
Right. Don't use that as an attack. Well, you know what? Oh, maybe he'll go cry into his millions. That is not the point. And just for some inside baseball, for people who don't necessarily know, I want to corroborate some of what you're saying. Yeah, you can't prove that you didn't make money off of Sandy Hook. Just like I can't prove that I didn't make money off of that the guy who was fired from Vox, who started the Vox Adpocalypse. Why? Because this enterprise makes the only way that we make profit is people signing up because they want to hear what I have to say. And sometimes what I have to say involves a specific person. Of course, it would be hundreds of thousands of people if you were to look over the course of our entire program. But that gets pulled in and they say, you can't say that you didn't make money off of insert whatever story you covered here. We've had that happen on the
absolutely.
website.
Well, let me be clear,
Stephen. Just to give you an example, just really quickly, we've had someone on the website sue because they say, well, this actually, we don't like this article that went up, and we want you to prove that you haven't made money off of it. And it's like, well, that article maybe had a few 100,000 views or something like that. I don't remember. I'm just giving you an example. I don't remember this specific example. And they were trying to say, so you make money. You make money off of this. Your whole company is making money off. No. They don't let you parse it. That's the lie. Because you were broadcasting, and the broadcast always makes money, and even when you were covering Sandy Hook. That's why they say, if you can't prove the separation of all the streams or any potential revenue generated while you were discussing the Sandy Hook issue, then you can't say that you didn't profit off of Sandy Hook. That's the argument. People need to understand it because we all struggle with it as business owners.
I totally agree, and I couldn't say it better.
What? What? Okay. I think he's trying to say you can't identify exactly how much money I've made by defaming the Sandy Hook families. That's it. It feels like that's precisely what he's saying. He's like, well, I did a lot of other bullshit coverage too, which is not actually the subject of this defamation lawsuit. So technically, you can't figure that out. So you can't take money from me. Well, it doesn't really matter. There's two components to a defamation lawsuit. There's also awards compensations that are not beholden to how much money you made off of that defamation. That's not what he's saying, I think. But yeah, no, he is saying that. He's making it seem as though you are owed the exact amount of money that you have made off of that defamation. But that's not how that works. Oh, fuck. You guys clapped him way faster than I could. It's also based on the punitive damages, like what kind of damage you have done to the victim. So there's that too.
In fact, when you said it better, and this is the most important point I'm going to make here, and I got a few documents if I can show them to you that are really important that tie this all together. This is a major project for 6 years, 2 years before they sued me, and then now the last 4, with literally hundreds of articles a week, sometimes thousands, every major news channel from HBO to PBS to Fox even attacking me over Sandy Hook and building it up into this giant controversy when I was not the Sandy Hook man to set the precedent with the Alex Jones precedent to shut everybody else down. Now let's talk about this being the biggest defamation judgment in U.S. history by an order of at least 10 magnitude. If I can have an overhead shot here. Damn, I wish the survivors of Epstein received $965 million. Exactly. Good point on Twitter, Eliza. Think about that real quick.
Why the triangle?
We still don't know the names.
Yeah, what the fuck? Dude, that's funny. Man, his content is fucking primo. Let's be real, dude. Look at those triangles that he put.
Exactly. We still don't know the names of the Johns. Here's another good point. Purdue Pharma, that knew OxyContin would addict people and kill them by the thousands, have to pay $634.5 million on the 10 plus billion they made profit in the OxyContin case. Alex Jones killed no one, ordered to pay $965 million for Sandy Hook lies.
And I don't think anyone is blowing somebody in an alley because of their addiction to colloidal silver.
Absolutely, they're not. Here's another one. The largest fine paid by a banking executive responsible for the 2008 financial crisis was $67.5 million. Jury says Alex Jones pays $965 million. Here's another one. Yes, from a lawyer, Viva Fry. Yes, except for O.J. was found guilty of the actual deaths of 2 victims after a trial. That was a civil trial. Whereas Alex Jones was found guilty of making false statements about people who were murdered by someone else without a trial. So O.J. pays 33.
Bro, you gotta hand it to him, bro. Printing out the tweets and then using your top-down Twitter printed tweet response on a Steven Crowder interview. I respect that. Who the fuck on this planet will be like, damn, man, I'm so glad that Purdue Pharma executives, the Sackler family, was not punished for all the deaths that they caused, and I'm glad that Alex Jones is. No one says that. You printed out all these fucking tweets defending you, except like they're arguing with no one. Printing off my entire trending tab every time I get ratio.
$3.5 million. I pay $900+ million, and it goes on and on.
OJ was
so what's
innocent.
going to happen? Absolutely. He was found innocent by the criminal, but guilty by the civil. So when are they going to sue MSNBC for some of the lies that were done? I want $1 million. My feelings are hurt by their lies. And it just goes on from there. But those are some really important points.
Watch Louder with Crowder live.
He said those are some very important points.